Hey, what's going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here to break down the 4-game CSGO main slate on Monday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos breaking out NBA, NFL, PGA, and esports daily fantasy sports slates, esports including Call of Duty, League of Legends, and this one, Counter-Strike CSGO. Also, if you guys are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, would appreciate if you go over there and leave a 5-star review. Just started that up about last week. So, and then also we're at 3.32 thousand subscribers on this YouTube channel. So if you guys enjoy this content, again, subscribe, hit the like button, the notification bell. Those things do really help me out to continue to put out this free content for you guys. So with that out of the way, let's jump into the video. Before we get into players and their prices, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the Vegas odds here for these 4 games for CSGO. So, I do apologize for not uploading a video here for Sunday slate. There was a 2-game Call of Duty slate and a 2-game CSGO slate, but I figured on those 2-game slates, making a video for those is not necessary, I should say. So apologize for not uploading, but took the day off, and again, ready to get back at it here with this 4-game slate. So let's talk about it. Again, we have 4 games. It's a combination of the Blast and the Loot series. We have 4, pretty well-known teams and 4 not so much. So it's interesting the Draftkings are combining this into one slate, and I definitely think there's an edge here. So let's take a look at these numbers here. We have Pact versus Skade. Pact are minus 150 favorites. We have Enigma Gaming and Apex. Enigma Gaming are the biggest favorites of the day right now at minus 345. And then it's G2 and Vitality. We have G2 minus 130 favorites, and that one's almost a pick up. And FaZe Clan and Ents kind of the same thing. FaZe Clan slight favorites are at minus 125. So what we can do is we can talk about this the first game here. So again, we have Pact versus Skade, 2 teams I haven't really got to watch a whole lot of, and I know a lot of people are going to be pretty unfamiliar with these teams. If we're talking about just on the slate, I think, if you're playing cash games, this would probably be a game I would avoid. It's almost a toss-up. I mean, again, we do have Pact our minus 150 favorites, but don't really have a great feel on this one. So let's talk about players and their prices here. Talk about the Skade side first. There's 2 guys that I'm looking to here for Skade. I think it's Rainwalker and Denislaw. Again, I haven't really got to watch these teams play, so really all I can go off of is the numbers here. And these 2 are the best 2 numbers. You have Denislaw at 0.72, Denislaw 0.72 kills per round, 0.66 deaths per round, and Rainwalker 0.76 and 0.66. So if you look at them compared to everyone else in the team, right, Action and Way negative, Spellion negative, and Duplicate negative as well. So right, those are the 2 that stand out to me. Now, the prices aren't great, right? 8.4 for Rainwalker, 7.6K for Denislaw. So I think they're interesting contrarian plays on the slate. Again, for a cash game setting, this is a game I would probably just cross off. We do, again, Skade are underdogs here. So if you're a guy that just strictly looks at the odds and builds off that, you could avoid these guys. But again, overall, just this game in general, I don't have a good feeling. Now, can there be a big score out of this game? Of course there can. So that's why you can for sure target this one for GPP. It's going to be those top 2 guys there for Skade with Rainwalker and Denislaw. Now let's talk about the Pack side. So they are favorites, only minus 150 though. Let's take a look at their numbers. So if you scroll through their numbers for the last 3 months, there's no one really carries the team hard, right? So you have Lunatic, 0.69 kills per round, 0.66 deaths per round. You have Darko at 0.72 and 0.67. You have Sobel at 0.72 and 0.65. You have Goofy at 0.74 and 0.65. And you have Menace at 0.66 and 0.63. So scrolling through that, right, they're all relatively similar numbers. I think the guy that stands out the most to me, just based off the numbers, right, is Goofy. He's 7K. He's the 3rd cheapest one on the team, and he has the best overall numbers. Again, Draftkings, they don't have any games here for Pact, so that's why, again, this game is very risky. But let me go on the right page. Yeah, Goofy has the best overall numbers. He's the third cheapest, 0.74 kills run, 0.65 deaths round. The other guys you could consider, I think, would be Sobel and Darko, right? Those are I think the next two best numbers here. We have Sobel, 0.72 and 0.65, Darko, 0.72 and 0.67. Again, you can make an argument for any of these guys. You have Menace at, what's his price? He's at 5.2K. So if you think Pact win this one, I could see targeting him as a really cheap play, right? For a guy that his numbers aren't terrible, right? 0.66 kills round, 0.63 deaths round, positive KD, and he's 5.2K, and they're favorites. So, yeah, that's kind of how I see this game, or kind of giving you guys this breakdown of this game. I think Goofy would be my favorite for his price. I think Menace is a viable, cheap option, and then Sobel and Darko are in play as well. All in all, I just don't have a great feeling on it. So for cash games, it's probably a stay away. For GPPs, for sure, you can target some guys in this game. Next, let's talk about Enigma versus Apex. So we have Enigma minus 345 favorites. So they're the biggest favorites of the day. I've watched a couple of their games, Enigma. So let's take a look at their prices here first. We have Lollipop 21K at 7.2K and Speed 4K at 7.2K. Gyro at 7K, MDS at 6.6, and Box at 6.6. So all priced about the same, but the guys that really stand out to me are the two at the top there. Lollipop 21K and Speed 4K. They have the best overall numbers. Lollipop 21K 0.79 kills per 0.63 deaths round. He is the best on the team. That really stands out for his price and for how heavily they're favored, right? So I like him a lot. I like Speed 4K a lot. 0.69 kills per round, 0.60 deaths per round. I think you can consider a guy like MDS, who's sitting at 0.67 and 0.63 as far as kills per round, deaths per round, and Gyro at 0.69 and 0.62. Box is slightly negative, but he's a pretty cheap price point at 6 point. Well, yeah, I think I would slightly prefer MDS and Gyro for a little bit more, MDS at the same price. So how I would rank these guys would probably be Lollipop 21K 1, Speed 4K 2, and then Gyro and MDS about the same there if you wanted to go a full 3-man stack. And, you know, this is a 4-game slate, so we're not going to see a whole lot of 3-man stacks here. I think it's still a viable build, but only if you think one team dominates, right, and wins easily in 2-0 fashion. Now, if we're just looking at the odds, Enigma Gaming probably is the best shot of doing that. So if you wanted to go 3-man stack here, I think it is viable just because, again, they're the biggest favorites of the day. They have the best chance to win in 2-0 fashion. But really, yeah, this is where I would consider some cash game plays for sure, especially Lollipop 21K, Speed 4K, and I think Gyro and MBS are certainly viable as well. You know, the guys, their prices look really, really good. So this is definitely where I would get some cash game exposure here if I was playing some cash games. Again, GPPs too, again, they do look really, really good here. If we're talking the Apex side here, so honestly, I have not seen this team at all play, so I can strictly only go off numbers. We have, I might botch some of these pronunciations. We have Marcelius at 0.7 kills per round, 0.67 deaths per round. Akez at 0.66 and 0.71. Gruseron at 0.65 and 0.71. Truth at 0.7 and 0.7. And Dennis at 0.66 and 0.7. So you have basically everyone negative besides Marcelius. He's priced at 8.2K though. So not a huge fan of that. Now, if I was going to play someone on this slate or on this team, maybe look down all the way to 4.8K at Dennis, right? Compared to his team, he's about the same as everyone else here. So, and he's by far the cheapest. So if you wanted like a one-off and just a really cheap play, I could see playing him at that price point. But really, this is a team for cash games. If you're playing cash games, completely avoid. For GPPs, I think the guy at the top and the guy at the bottom would be the only ones I would consider there with Marcelius and Dennis. And I can only strictly go off numbers here, but this is just a team I've not got to see play. They're the biggest underdogs in the slate. So avoid for cash games. Maybe a dart throw here and there for GPPs. Next, let's talk about Vitality and G2. So these are two, obviously, way more well-known teams. We have the odds for this one. I got almost a pick 'em. G2 slight favorites at minus 130. So first, let's talk about the Vitality side, a team I kind of hate talking about besides Zywoo, just because it's so hard to predict who's going to have a good game besides Zywoo on this team. Yeah, the last time they played, I played Masuda. You guys know how that one. If you watch my video, he went 31 and 55. He had like negative fantasy points for a long time. Completely sunk. I had like a good lineup going there too. Completely sunk it. So yeah, this Vitality team besides ZywOo, I really do not like these guys. But yeah, ZywOo at 9K. I think he's one of the better plays in the slate. Just really carries this team and has been playing. He's been playing amazing in great form. 9K. That's about $500 to $1,000 too cheap in my opinion. Even though they're slight underdogs, I really like ZywOo. He's going to be very popular for this slate once again. ZywOo's always popular, but he's underpriced. He's going to be really popular here. 0.82 kills per round, 0.61 deaths per round. Everyone else on his team slightly negative. I think Shox is maybe positive. Yeah, Shox is slightly positive, 0.66 and 0.64. Masuda, again, shaking my head at him, 0.61 and 0.67. So as far as kills per round, deaths per round, I really like ZywOo at 9K. I think that's the only guy I really have confidence in on this Vitality team. Everyone else are just strictly dart throws. I've watched so much Vitality, and it's just, whoever else has a decent game, it's basically just, again, like a dart throw. Whether it be Shox, Apex, RPK, Masuda, all have had decent games, but they're very inconsistent. Shox is always the next highest owned guy on this team. And then RPK for value has been decent recently. So those would be the two I would probably consider if you wanted to play someone else in Vitality, but it's always a risk for me. So I really think for cash games, you probably avoid everyone else besides ZywOo. For GPPs, you could go with any of those guys. It's almost a toss-up. Again, Shox and RPK are usually the highest owned guys for what it's worth. And let's talk about the G2 side. So the pricing on the G2 side look really good here. The top three guys especially are Kenny S, Nexa, and Hunter, all at 7.4K. Amanek and Jax. Amanek at 5.8, Jax at 6.2. I don't think I consider those guys unless you think G2 win easily 2-0 fashion. Sure, it's always possible, but Vitality's been in pretty good form recently, so I would say that's pretty less likely that they win 2-0. But the top three guys I really like, especially Hunter. He's the most aggressive player on this team. I think he has the highest upside. Now, sure, maybe he has a relatively low floor because he is usually the ones initiating the gunfights, right? He's always in those power positions. So if he goes down first, and again, if he keeps losing those first blood fights, then he could have a relatively low floor game. Whereas Kenny S kind of sits back more with the sniper, with the op, but can make a lot of those clutch plays, right? Those 1v2s, 1v3s. And then Nex is always the lowest owned of these three. And for them, priced about the same, I think I would rank them Hunter, Kenny S, and Nexa. And that's probably how it's going to go in ownership, too. It's probably Hunter, the highest owned, then Kenny S, then Nexa. Now, can Nexa be the best one here for G2? Of course. And he's going to be the lowest owned. So for GPPs, if you were playing a chalky lineup and you want to get different, maybe look to Nexa instead of either Kenny S or Hunter. Now, I think you can play two of these guys for sure. Three if you think G2 win easily 2-0 fashion. But my favorite play is Hunter at that price point. Again, they're all priced the same. But looking at his numbers, he's got 0.75 kills per round, 0.67 deaths per round. Again, he's always the one that's in those power positions. So. And he's a very aggressive player. I really like Hunter. Nexa is viable. Again, I think he's more of a pivot for GPPs. Not as good of numbers, but it still can have good games. 0.68 kills per round, 0.64 deaths per round. And then Kenny has a 0.7 kills per round, 0.62 deaths per round. Again, he's the one that gets a lot of those 1v2s, 1v3 clutches with that op. And generally has a better KD because if you use the op, a lot of those rounds, again, if you lose like a couple players right away in like a round, the call a lot of the times is just to save and to stay alive. So that can help the KD there with Kenny S a little bit. But all in all, I think I would rank in Hunter, Kenny S, Nexa for my preferred plays in G2, and I think that's how it's going to go in ownership too. And then lastly, we have Ents versus FaZe. So this one is, again, almost a pick-em. We have FaZe Clan slight favorites at -125. Let's talk about the Ents side first. So this is a team, honestly, kind of like Vitality for me. You have a Lou that really does carry the team. Then everyone else, it's a little bit harder to predict. So a Lou at 8K, that is about $1,000 too cheap in my opinion. He really stands out as a good play here. Looking at his numbers for the last 3 months, he's at 0.76 kills per round, 0.61 deaths per round. He uses the op. He can make a lot of big plays, a lot of clutches. So I really like Alou for his price point. Everyone else in the team, again, it gets a little bit tricky. So you have Sergey at 6.8, Sonny at 6.4, Jampy at 6.2, and Ariel 5.4K. Jampy is a new addition to the team, and recently he's been in relatively good form. These numbers are a little bit skewed because he was playing with a different team earlier against lesser competition, but he's been decent. If you look at his recent games here in DraftKings, Jampy, last 3 games here, 18 and 23, not great, right? 23 and 18 is good, and then 21 and 21. So not great, but not terrible, and he's 6.2K. So he's interesting. I guess he would be my next favorite play here. And as Sergey, Sonny, Ariel, I think are all viable. But again, it's kind of like that Vitality situation. I just don't have a great feel on these guys. You have Ariel, negative KD there for the last 3 months, 0.63 and 0.69. You have Sergey, slightly positive, 0.66 and 0.65. And Sonny, slightly negative there, 0.66 and 0.69. So this team kind of does remind me of Vitality, right? You have one guy that really carries the roster, and everyone else, it's kind of more risky, right? So that's the breakdown there for Ents. Now let's talk about FaZe Clan. So we have Nico at 8.8K. I think that's maybe slightly underpriced. I still like Nico. Again, he's the guy that has the most upside on this FaZe team. Last couple games haven't been great for him. 31 and 31 against Navi, and then 43 and 50 against Big. But I think that will lower the ownership a little bit on him, right? I think Zywoo going to be a lot more popular. I don't know, it's going to be close, but I think Alou might be slightly more popular than Nico for about, again, $1,000 difference. I still think Nico's going to garner some ownership, but off of recent play, he hasn't been great the last 2 games. Now, if you look at his numbers last 3 months, again, he's got good numbers. 0.78 kills per round. Again, a very aggressive player, 0.67 deaths per round. Also, he's the guy that can get you those clutches, right? Those 1v2s, those 1v3s, which we do get points for. So Nico, I do like at that price point. Everyone else here with Brokey, Cold, Rain, and BMS. BMS is the guy I can't get right. He's so frustrating. You always have those guys in DFS. BMS is that guy. I've played him a lot early on, and he was not good. I faded him when he went 51 and 45 and 45 and 30. And then I came back and played him against Big, and he went 33 and 49. So he's very, very up and down. Some games he just looks like the worst player definitely on the team. Then some games, like that game against Navi, he just took over and looked like the best player. So BMS is a guy I think is a strictly GPP play, but does have upside, right? If he's playing well, he's had some good games. So strictly a GPP play there at 5.6K. Rain, Cold, and Brokey are all priced about the same. So for that reason, I got to go Cold. Here's my next favorite play at 7K. He's got the second best numbers. I think he is the second best player on this team, too. 0.7 kills per round, 0.62 deaths per round, whereas Brokey, 0.66 and 0.56, so a little bit less on each because, again, he uses it off. Sits back a little bit more. Then Rain, I don't think I have too much interest in him at 0.64 kills per round, 0.7 deaths per round. So FaZe Clan, I think, would be Nico and Cold, the cash game plays. You could consider Brokey as well, and Bima is strictly a GPP play for me. So all in all, let's now do a breakdown of how I would attack this slate if I was playing just a cash game format, right? So I would probably avoid that first game. I don't have a good feeling on it. It's probably a stay away. Then I would probably get some Enigma guys here. I'd probably get 2 Enigma guys for them being the biggest favorites of the day. Again, Lollipop 21K and Speed 4K are my favorite plays, but Jaiwu and MDS are certainly viable as well. And then on the G2 side, I really like Hunter. I think Kenny S and Nex are viable as well. Vitality, again, Zywoo going to be very popular. I think you play him in cash games. Ents, I really like Alou at that price. FaZe, it's Nico and Cold. So that's probably how I look for a cash game setting. Again, if we're just looking at players and their price, it's the Enigma guys that look really good, the G2 guys, and then Alou too. But yeah, I think I would probably play Zywoo as well. He's going to be very popular. But that's how I would probably go for a cash game setting. For GPPs, yeah, you can consider this first game. Again, I mentioned the guys I like, right? Rainwalker, Denny Slaw on the Skade side. On the Pack side, Goofy at 7K looks pretty decent. Menace, I think, is a viable punt just because he's so cheap. And then on the Apex side, probably not going to get to anyone here, but if you did play someone, Dennis is really, really cheap, or Marcellus at the top at 8.2K. Vitality, again, it's really Zywoo that I like. Everyone else, it's kind of just, I throw my hands up in the air because it's so hard to predict which one's going to have a decent game. Whereas the G2 side, we kind of know where the productions come from. We know it's those top 3 guys. So I like the prices of these guys a lot, right? You have like Hunter, Nex, and Kenny S priced like close to like some of these Vitality guys. So it really doesn't make sense for me to get to those Vitality guys unless you think Vitality wins 2-0, right? If Vitality come out and kill G2, win 2-0, then yeah, those Vitality guys obviously do better than Kenny S, Nex, and Hunter. But if this series is close, I really think, you know, these G2 guys will just dominate those other Vitality guys. So I really like the pricing on those top 3 guys in G2. And the end side, kind of similar to a Vitality team where you have a Lou carry the roster. Everyone else, it's a little bit harder to predict. And then FaZe Clan, I think Nico will be somewhat popular, but maybe not as high owned as a guy like Zywoo, maybe a Lou and those G2 guys, as well as the Enigma guys. And then Brokey, Cold, I think are decent plays as well for their respective prices. I slightly prefer Cold for $200 less. BMS is a strictly GPP play, but has flash upside when he's playing well. So I think that's going to do it for the video today, guys. If you have been enjoying the content, I really appreciate if you like this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell. Again, guys, hitting the notification bell does really help me out to continue to grow this channel. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, 5-star review, leave a rating. Would really appreciate that as well. So thanks again for everyone to come to check the video. Really do appreciate it, and I will see you guys all in the next one.